Hello, everyone. It is with great joy in our hearts that we are here today, starting this new study that we call Joanna in English. I am Jussara Korngold. I live in the US. I'm currently the General Secretary of the International Spiritist Council, Vice President, and a former President of the United States Spiritist Federation. And like many of you, I have a passion for everything that is related to Joanna de Angelis, this noble spirit that has inspired us to disseminate her message throughout the world. And this is what we are starting today with the help of so many friends that we are going to be introducing to you. And we hope you will like and we will join us. And most of all, will benefit from the teachings, the lessons that Joanna de Angelis brings to us. I also would like to make a mention that Joanna de Angelis can be translated to us because of Divaldo Pereira Franco. So it's thanks to him that we have her works, that we have the knowledge of her experience and everything that can help us to live a full life. But to start our program, I would like to introduce to you the person that is behind Joanna de Angelis, and everyone is behind her. That is Gelson Roberto, and he's going to be introducing himself. Hello, Gelson.
Alô a todos, grande abraço.
Hello, everyone. A warm welcome to all of you who are watching this video. It is with great joy that we are together to participate in this beautiful project based on the psychological series by Joanna de Angelis. I am a psychologist, Jungian analyst. I work with the Spiritist Medical Association of Rio Grande do Sul. I am also a member of the Spiritist Medical Association of Brazil, where I coordinate the group focusing on psychology and spiritism in AME Brazil. I also work with the Brazilian Spiritist Federation with Marçal de Caminho, along with Divaldo Franco, and I organize the activities, study groups on the psychological series not only in Brazil, as well as in Europe and other countries. At this moment, we are here together to propose a new initiative that is quite beautiful to study, the psychological series of Joanna de Angelis in English, and to find there the spiritual and psychological resources to enable the process of self-awareness, discovery, and spiritual renewal. I welcome all to this new project that Jussara Korngold is championing.
Thank you so much, Gelson. I was just think about this collaboration that we are having, Brazil, UK, US, having all of us, together, gathering here to give this voice of Joanna to the world. Marcia?
Hi, everyone. I want to thank you. Thank you, Gelson, for introducing Joanna to all of us. And now I would like to ask each one of us to tell us a little bit about who you are and how has Joanna de Angelis impacted you personally. Is that okay? So I'm going to ask Anaí to start. Anaí, can I start with you? And if you could just spend a few minutes introducing your journey and who you are and how has Joanna impacted you?
Hello, everyone. So I'm Anaí Fonseca. I'm speaking from Brazil, Porto Alegre, together with Gelson. And I'm a psychiatrist and I'm a Jungian analyst, a teaching analyst. And for many years, I have had a Freudian training. And at some point in my journey, I think as all of you, I found Jung and Joanna. Actually, Joanna first and then Jung. And Gelson helped me a lot in this path. Because I was the vice president of the Spiritist Medical Association in my state. And as a psychiatrist, at some point, I realized that with all my Freudian training, I wasn't really able to deal with people's faith, beliefs, and religions, because Freudian, as you know, the Freudian training doesn't give you this these tools, to go deeper inside our psyche and our souls. So I was very thankful to Gelson when he started teaching. I was with him many, many years ago, when he was teaching Joanna here in our state. And I can tell you that it changed not only my personal life, but my professional life, because Joanna really opens doors. She opens doors within our souls, and we are able to reach depths in our psyche that we are not able with other lines of work in psychological field. So I got a lot of strength with Joanna, a lot of better understanding of our functioning, of the purposes that why we are here, and don't we all need this meaning? The search for meaning is spirituality. So what are we doing here? What are our purpose in life? What are our sacred story, each one of us, that really defines us and our mission here. So Joanna open lots of doors within ourselves. And because of all this strength, I can tell you it was not easy, because my state is very Freudian, the psychiatrist. But I was able to, little by little, to bring the research in spirituality and religion. And I founded here in our Psychiatry Association of our state a department of psychiatry and spirituality. That was something that even I didn't believe I was doing. So we know that the mentors, the spirits are with us when we can achieve things that we couldn't think about before or believe that it would be possible. And also because of Gelson, Joanna, and Jung, we were able to have a department of analytical psychology and spirituality within the Brazilian Jungian Association of Brazil, that I coordinate also. So I'm very grateful that I was given this opportunity in this life. Very grateful to be here with you all. And I just wanted to remind everyone that it's going to be so exciting to be here with all of you, with the people that are watching us, that the quote, I love this quote that Jung says, who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes. So I really hope that we are going to awake together and open lots of doors and really have all this answer to all the effort that Joanna and other mentors in spirituality are looking for, that we evolve as our consciousness and we evolve as humanity. Thank you so much.
Well, let's continue to introduce ourselves, and I would like to perhaps have Anne Sinclair come here, tell us a little bit about her and how has Joanna de Angelis impacted her. Thank you so much, Anne.
Hi, my name is Anne Sinclair. I'm speaking from the UK, from Hertfordshire, just north of London. Hello to everybody. Yes, I came across Joanna de Angelis over 30 years ago. My journey is quite different to the very, how can I say, wise and professional Gelson and Anaï. Mine is a more simple story. I started studying Spiritism over 30 years ago, as I said, and within about a few months that I started studying here in a little study group, the Alan Kardec study group here in London, I was invited to interpret a talk by Divaldo Franco, who now we know is the medium through which Joanna de Angelis has written all these books. Because I was bilingual, they said maybe you can try and interpret his talk. I said, okay, I'll give it a go. I went there. I knew very little about Spiritism. I didn't have a very wide culture. Divaldo was very patient with me, and he went teaching me slowly what the contents of the Spiritist teachings, and also what Joanna de Angelis was starting to write at the time, which were her psychological books. And I went buying these books over the years, and I collected them, and I'd open them from time to time and have a look and say, oh my gosh, it seems like the words, they're simple words. It seems like I can read it, but I don't understand it. So put it away. A few years later, I collected all the books and I dip into them. I felt like I wanted to understand, but I felt I didn't have a key. And it was a blessing when Gelson started doing the groups there in Portuguese online and started studying with us, and we could ask questions, and he started breaking it up into little pieces into which finally I could start to pick them up and say, aha, yes, I this makes sense to me. And then I can understand a little bit here and a little bit there, and slowly putting the dots together. So my message to you is, don't be afraid if at the beginning it all seems very daunting, if you feel that it's beyond you. It's just like slowly, you make the beach with each little pebble of sand, each little grain. So start collecting the little grains, and before you know it, you have a stretch. Joanna de Angelis for me is a presence of a teacher of light. I know that lots of people use this image of her as a nun. I don't connect to that kind of image. And when I think of her, when I pray, and when I feel her presence, for me, it's always a presence of light, of love, and calm. Everything is okay. She's always like, if I'm in a panic, she is that cool breeze that comes and says, why are you worrying? Everything is okay. If you make mistakes, that's okay. If you don't know, that's okay. Everything is a process from everything you learn. And when you say, oh my gosh, and I made so many mistakes, she said, we all make mistakes when we are in the earth, in the flesh. Said, when we come into the flesh, we come into the mist, and we get lost sometimes in the mist. But when we leave the flesh, it's like we lift out of the mist and we can see things with greater clarity. She said it's like that for all of us, and she includes herself. So she is such a beautiful presence, because she's not judging any of us. She's just extending her hand and saying, come on, let's walk. We can all walk at our own pace. Welcome.
Oh, thank you, Anna. What a wonderful testimony to all of us. But I would like to hear also from Fabrício. Fabrício, can you tell us a little bit about your journey, who you are, and your journey with Joanna?
Thank you, Marcia, and hello, everyone. Greetings from England. I'm so happy to be here with our Joanna's family, which is such a privilege to be talking about Joanna and expanding Joanna's family. And that is exactly what happened when I talk about my passion about Joanna. About 8 years ago, I started to coordinate a study group with Joanna, and I thought, well, okay, maybe it's going to be just a group here in England, where I coordinate the Spiritist Society of Bournemouth, and we started to study the first Joanna's book, and I didn't actually realize that our family was going to grow so much. So started off with a small group in England, and then the group start growing, and then we start reaching out to all our friends across Europe, and then other friends in Australia, in America, and all over the world. And it's so, for me, I feel quite emotional actually, because talking about Joanna is it's make me feel so happy, because she is a spirit that brought so many answers for my questions, and that's how I wanted to study this whole psychological series of books written by Divaldo Franco. And the more I study, the more I understand the importance of us to discover more and more about ourselves. And the psychological book of Joanna de Angelis gives us exactly what we need to discover and learn about ourselves. So I would like to welcome everyone to this initiative. And we've been doing studies groups in Portuguese, and now is our next steps now to be delivering this in English. So I'm very happy to be part of this big family here called Join Us in English. Thank you very much.
That's awesome, isn't it? Well, I think next I would like to hear from Kirsten de Mello. Kirsten, can you tell us a little bit about who you are, how you met Joanna de Angelis, and how has she and her books impacted you specifically?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to be here. My name is Kirsten, and I am from the U.S. And my experience with Joanna de Angelis spans over, I'd say, maybe close to 2 decades. But my most memorable that I could share very briefly is a personal anecdote. When I was a teenager, and I had gone through something very traumatic, and I had gone to see Givaldo, and who knew nothing, obviously. He was in a different state. Went to visit him here in the U.S., and when I went to see him, immediately Joanna had a message for me, and I already had a connection with her through her books that just sort of solidified even more my connection with her, and the message that was relayed to me through Givaldo from her. So it's her literature, it's her books, Spiritism in general, really, but through her literature has turned on lights in dark places. So hoping to do the same for others just across the globe. So thank you all so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Kirsten. Love to hear from everybody here. Jussara, Gelso, Anaí, and Fabrício and Kirsten. And I think I forgot to introduce myself. So my name is Marcia Trajano. I am from Brazil. So like Anne, I am bilingual. So I was introduced first with Joanna in Portuguese, but have facilitated classes and discussions of her books in English and Portuguese. In the past year, I've been facilitating mostly in English through the group that has been recently formed, the group that I coordinate with others, the Solitude Spiritist Center. And with that, we find this initiative just truly touching and timely and perhaps even urgent. How do we bring all of, as you heard in these testimonials, right? All the goodness that each and every one of us find with Joanna de Angelis' teachings to us, to you in English. But what is the program, you ask me? The program is a 12-month program where Anaí and all the folks from the Medical Spiritist Association and all the work that Gelson Roberto, as you heard from him, has been doing, will bring to you a very in-depth study in English of those psychological concepts that are brought to you through the several books written in that series. We will do that once a month, And we will also come back, and we who have been studying, we who have been touched, we who love Joanna so much, will come back and we'll discuss those concepts with our language, with our lens as human beings, as Christians, as spiritists, as a good friend that we want to be with you. Um, how did we start this? Well, as you can see, we have folks from all over the place. The commonality is Joanna, and the second commonality is the English language. We are together with institutions that are based in Brazil, specifically what we call AME, which is the Medical Spiritist Association in Brazil. We have um, the presence of Jussara as the Secretary General of the International Spiritist Center. We have Anne and Fabrizio representing the work in the UK, Spiritist work, specifically to their organizations. UCB and Kirsten are representing individuals in the US who will be there along with Jussara. So I really want to go over a little bit longer. I hope you are a little patient with me, because I wanted to say to you that this program, it's really a program that is broken down into 12 modules that begins with Joanna de Angelis' biography, her spiritual path. Or the second program will be about the psychology with the soul, the relationship between psychology and spiritism, and Joanna's proposal. We keep going with the themes there found in the psychological series in their 17 books there, and we have a couple of programs with that, and then we keep on going, weaving through not only a podcast like discussion with us, but also giving yourself time to send us your questions, and we will discuss them in a live questions Q&A for you. So as you can see, we have a lot of work in front of us. We are excited. Joanna de Angelis is an amazing source of peace, as Anne mentioned, is a passion, a source for passion, as Fabrizio mentioned. It's a source of light, as Kirsten said. So all of us are touched in different ways. We want to say thank you for being here with us. And before we close, I want to ask if anyone would like to give a final words before we conclude today's live.
Hi, Marcia. I would like to say something as well. First of all, again, to thank our friends, our brothers and sisters in Joanna de Angelis, the Spiritist Medical Association, and Fabrizio and Anne Sinclair, that are from individual Spiritist centers in the UK, for Kirsten, Danielle, that is behind the scene as well, and you and myself that also represent United States Spiritist Federation, and also representing the International Spiritist Council. And I would like to share with you also a little bit of my journey with Joanna de Angelis. I have been the blessing to be a Spiritist since I was a child. And of course, my first passion was and still is Allan Kardec. Then I found out about other books, books by Chico Xavier, like books from Emmanuel and Andrea Lewis, and then I discovered also the books by Divaldo Pereira Franco. And when I started reading more the works, the psychographies that came from Divaldo, of course, my first introduction to Joanna de Angelis was not okay, because it was so beyond my reach. I was still, I don't even know, I was 20 already, and I found in parallel, I found the works of Manuel Filomeno Filomeno de Miranda. And I fell in love with him as well, and I started studying with him. And then so many people would come to me and talk about her works. And I said, you know what? I don't think I can understand Joanna de Angelis. And so I was each time more just, my reference in terms of Divaldo was Joanna de Angelis, until I moved to London. And while there and having this ability of, being more often with Divaldo, including, our friend here, and doing the translation that helped tremendously everyone. So I start little by little to, to understand a bit more. And I think it was only about 25 years ago that I finally was, maybe for sure, more mature to start understanding the concepts. And that was happening, of course, in stages. And was about 15 years ago that I personally started a study group of her works within our possibilities, of course, but something that here we are going to go in a much more profound way. So that was my journey. The light from the spirit is so immense. The simplicity of the words that she brings to us, but at the same time, the complexity, the complex concepts, and in something that touches us so much, because it touches about our inner self, about our inner core, about our transformation. And so there are times that some people, I already heard that say, studying Joanna de Angelis, like, I'm not a spiritist because it is not Kardec, because it's not Chico. And I say, maybe like myself, you are still not understanding that Joanna de Angelis is pure spiritism, because she brings about and she helps us. She gives us the way to do what's the most important thing in spiritism, which is to better ourselves, the moral laws, everything that we have in the gospel according to spiritism, the messages of the spirits that we have in heaven and hell, to understand the grandiosity of the creation of the universe like we have in Genesis. So she comes and says and helps us in this journey of self-discovery, and of course of having courage to go on and to keep in this journey. So you all are invited to be with us. And before we finish our presentation today, thanking everyone, I would like to hear if there is someone that would like to add anything to this first encounter with Joanna in English.
Jussara, I would like to say some words after you said, because as a psychiatrist and an analyst, I can tell you that I had already been working when I found Joanna as a psychiatrist and a Freudian, with my Freudian training. And I can tell you that I myself was overwhelmed. Okay, this is not for people to get afraid or, think it's so difficult. But it's like we had at some point to deconstruct, we could say, some of our preconcepts. So, hardly built when we are medical personnel and when we are researchers. So I can tell you that it's not so much about concepts. Don't be afraid, because I myself was afraid. But then I realized at some point that to understand Joanna, and I can tell you because I'm a living proof of that, I had to deconstruct my preconcepts, intellectual preconcepts. It was hard, But then I learned something that is very, very precious in my line of work, the work with myself and with my patients. Because to understand Joanna, you need only one organ, let's say, in your body. It's the heart. It's not the mind, the brain. It's the heart. I loved what Anne said about Joanna being a teacher of light. And this light and this love is within all of us. So to understand Joanna is not that much hard, because it is hard if you say, oh, I'll have to learn the concept, I have to understand. But when we calm our minds and we do exactly as Anne said, I'm not going to try to understand anything. I'm going to try to listen with my heart. Then we start to understanding everything that she's saying, because the concepts are just tools, for understanding here with the ego. But really, learning Joanna is opening doors within our souls. So all the truth of what we are is within ourselves. She's just helping us to connect with the knowledge that we already have. We are light beings. We are here to learn, to remember that we are light beings and from where we are all coming, and to where are we going back. So I just wanted to say that don't be afraid. Don't get scared with all the names and the concepts. Just listen with your heart. We are always going to be okay. And we will find this wonderful teacher of light, as Anne said, that she is helping us just to reconnect with ourselves. That's what I wanted to tell you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Anaí. Thank you, Jussara. Last chance. Anyone else want to say something?
I would like to say something very quickly, just to pick up what Anna just mentioned. That is something that resonates so well with myself. When I was studying the books, and I'm studying psychology, and when we study an academic subject, it's very much how much your brain can absorb those theory. And then when I'm studying with Joanna, the approach to study Joanna is different. It's not how engaging your brain with those books, but how you connect your brain with what you're reading on those books. And when she was mentioned, I felt, oh my God, this resonates so well with me, because when I'm reading an academic book at the university, it's psychology, but it's not Joanna psychology. And then I try to apply my brain, and sometimes I understand. But Joanna, when I do that, it doesn't always work. But then when I engage my heart, definitely when the whole teaching really resonates with my heart and makes the whole transformation in my inner. So I just want to add that to what I just said.
This is beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Fabrício. All right. So I think we are at our wrap for this kickoff meeting for Joanna in English. I look forward to meeting you all in the next episode that we come together. Thank you. Thank you for your contribution. Thank you for being here. And we look forward to seeing all of you